I wanted to lay out a picture of what transparency is doing from a personal to a governmental level. And at the governmental level, I do point out also that the intelligence business lives in the same world we live in. Transparency has come to the intelligence business. Remember the assassination of the Hamas arms dealer in Dubai a couple of years ago. 10 years ago, let alone 50 years ago, an operation like that would have sunk like a stone. Nobody would have ever understood what happened. There would have been lots of rumors, guesses, but nobody would have known ever. In that case, within 24 hours, 11 of the people in the assassination team had their photographs on the internet along with their credentials. Within a week, all 26 members of that team had been exposed. Now, how did that happen? It wasn't because the Dubai police engaged in heavy-handed Stalinist surveillance. It was because in Dubai, like in New York, everybody engages in pervasive light-handed surveillance. And so the ability of the police to correlate the videos in the airport where you'd want it and the videos in the mall where you'd probably want it there too, because there's a lot less crime in the mall as a result, and the videos in the hotel, which the hotel wants because they don't want to have to deal with the legal consequences of crime on the 11th floor or wherever it is. The ability to correlate that information with a few clicks was extraordinary. And what it means is the first assassination in history which is recorded hundreds of hours on video, all but the actual murder in the hotel room. Transparency's come to the intelligence business. Also, you think about the CIA rendition flights. How were they exposed? Not by any government. They were exposed by amateur sleuths who are plane spotters, who go out in airports and write down the numbers and time on the tail of an aircraft and all that sort of thing. The European governments got into the act when that bandwagon was already rolling. You could always find out somewhere by standing in line for a long time or filing a written request to find out who owned a certain aircraft, and it might take you a long time to figure it out. I could tell you now online, you could tell yourself online at certain websites who owns any aircraft in the world and whether that tail marking has ever been changed. So that the changing of a tail marking is no longer a way of disguising something, it's a way of advertising that there's something funny going on. So transparencies come to the intelligence business. And that means that cover, aliases, are real hard. When you go across a border and say, I'm Thomas O'Hara from the Acme Metal Company, trying to get into, somewhere in Ukraine, and the guy looks at his stuff and your fingerprints is, hey, I know who you are. You're Joel Brenner. And here's your background. And we know a lot about you when you step into this room over here. Huh? So the whole business is really, really changing. And so what I've tried to do is lay out the relationship between this transparency, which starts when you give the grocer a lot of information about your purchasing habits because you want to save $1 on a bunch of grapes, down to when you go across the Triborough Bridge, do you stay in line and pay that toll, or do you sail through on an electronic pass? Well, you create a record of where you go. You create footprints. You probably don't pay cash much anymore. There are a lot of people younger than most of us in the room who will use a credit card to buy a cup of coffee. The footprints that you leave behind you when you go through life like that are extraordinary, and they are really detailed. And it's not the government that's amassing this stuff. It's private managers of databases who sell this information. It's happening more slowly in Europe because the rules are tougher there, but it's happening there too.